Harem's Harem or Mollywood as my team name. I'm not that creative. If you want to play fantasy football, just go to ESPN.com/fantasy and sign up. Do not miss out. Everybody's doing it. Look at these numbers. All the folks that have already signed up. Get on that. Not only is the NFL season so exciting, the NBA 2019-2020 schedule is hot off the presses, and after a crazy offseason, so many superstars changing teams, we now know some of the dates of those very notable reunions. Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard returns to the North in December. Kyrie back in Boston, and AD returns to the Big Easy on the same night in late November. Kemba UConn is back in the Queen City in early November, and Russell Westbrook makes his return to OKC in early January. Reunited, and it doesn't feel so good. Stephen A., which return are you most excited about this season?
Well, for me, I'm interested in seeing Anthony Davis return to New Orleans, and it's almost. I mean, you can come up with a couple of better ones, Max, but I will tell you this: the fact that Zion is there, and they've clearly moved in a different direction. So New Orleans, there's some relevancy to them in terms of having a marquee talent that has the potential that obviously is right now he's even more box office than Anthony Davis, but he damn sure ain't the player that Anthony Davis is. And Anthony Davis wanted out of New Orleans. Obviously, it wasn't his fault per se as the manner in which everything was handled and the way things had disintegrated. But nevertheless, the finger's going to be pointed at him because if you're New Orleans, no matter how much he says he loves the city and the fans and what have you, he wanted out. And so when he returns there in a Los Angeles Laker uniform, I don't think it's going to be tantamount, obviously, to LeBron leaving Cleveland and then returning because LeBron was from Akron, Ohio, and that's not the case with Anthony Davis, who's from Chicago. But it is relevant from the standpoint that if New Orleans has any degree of relevancy towards them, particularly if Zion proves to be as big time as we all anticipate and hope that he will be, then Anthony Davis with LeBron James coming into that Lions Den known as the Smoothie King Arena could be very, very interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing that happen.
Look, of all the returns, and you're right, there are a lot of good options. Westbrook, there are a lot of good options. The best one is Kyrie going back to Boston. That's the best one.
That's a good one.
Because Boston, first of all, you have to think about the entirety of the situation. Boston is really a huge market because we're not just about Boston. Like when you look at the size of Boston, how can that compete with New York and other areas like that? Yeah. It's because Boston really means from Connecticut to Maine. It's practically the entire Northeast, it is. North of certain parts of Connecticut. That entire region, which, by the way, is basketball crazy, and the Celtics have this incredible tradition, and still a powerhouse team, is going to be watching this. Plus, this whole, all of the New York greater metropolitan area, right, where Kyrie is from, wanted to come back. The Nets are a team, as you would say, Stephen A., on the come-up. The Celtics were thought to be a team that could challenge for a title last season, but underachieved. Many people, including me, blamed Kyrie. So think of the drama and the amount of attention and just the number of people interested in this, and then think about what may actually happen. I think the Celtics can be very good this year. I think they're going to surprise people. But clearly the Nets on the come-up, you add Kyrie, should get better. So it should be a competitive, exciting game. And then think of the kind of show Kyrie puts on. He is maybe the best show in the NBA. I think when you add it all up, it doesn't get better than Kyrie's return to Boston.
The only reason I slightly disagree with you is because when I'm talking about somebody returning, a lot of it is contingent on you and your performance, meaning if Kyrie goes to Brooklyn, how are the Brooklyn Nets performing? How is he performing? But we also have to pay attention to question marks about the Boston Celtics. While I agree with you and Jalen, particularly Jalen, who points out the perimeter shooting that Boston has at its disposal and how they could end up being the best perimeter shooting team in the Eastern Conference, the reality is that last year was a huge disappointment. Now, if they're struggling, then suddenly we discover it wasn't about Kyrie. And I think that sort of quells the momentum that would be aimed in his direction, or the shrapnel of criticism aimed in his direction, if indeed he were to return. But if they are flat out balling in Boston without him because Kemba Walker is there now instead of him, and they're playing lights out, and they look very, very impressive and what have you, then you're probably right. That would be the one to watch.
I'm looking at Tatum, especially in Boston. That's the player I expect to take a giant step forward. He looked as a rookie like that could be the best offensive player one day on a championship team. He regressed last year. People, including you, pointed to Gordon Hayward, but even if that were the case, Hayward is now, and then Terry Rozier came on and backed you up on that. Hayward is a year farther removed from that, from the.
Yeah, he's going to be better this year. He's going to be better this year.
Suddenly, Hayward's better. Tatum should take a step forward, etc. I expect them to be a powerhouse.
Let me ask you this question, Max. quick question for you. Do you believe, I'm just curious what your thought is here. Do you believe that the elevation of Gordon Hayward, because he's going to be better this year, because he'll be healthy, and we all know that when Gordon Hayward is healthy, he can ball. Do you believe that a healthier Gordon Hayward could potentially compromise the growth of Jason Tatum?
No, because Hayward and Brown, to me, are two players who don't need the ball to be effective. Hayward can score in transition, get out in the open court, all that kind of stuff, and also play defense when healthy. He's not actually a guy who you need to run plays for, who needs to monopolize the ball. The two guys who absolutely need the ball on that team, the little and the bigger, if not big, are Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum, and I expect to see a lot of that this season.
Well, Kemba Walker definitely don't have the ball.
I want to throw something else at you, and Stephen A., I'll ask you this. The Warriors, they're always usually the biggest draw normally. They're obviously not going to have KD. We know Clay's hurt. So how much do you think that's going to affect them this season?
Let me tell you,
are they not a sexy team anymore?
Molly, thank you for asking that question. Let me tell y'all what I think is going to happen with the Golden State Warriors. I believe that the Golden State Warriors are going to struggle during the regular season and probably squeeze into the postseason, probably as a 6th seed. And then they're going to wreak havoc when Klay Thompson comes back, and they're gonna make it to the second round of the semifinals of the Western Conference. I'm telling you right now, with Klay Thompson and Steph Curry healthy, let me tell you, this is the greatest shooting backcourt we've ever seen on the planet Earth. We've never seen a shooting backcourt this great. And they're going to struggle without Klay. But once Klay comes back and gets his legs under him, his rhythm under him, and they get back, I'm telling you right now, you can't judge the Warriors by the regular season. The only thing that matters is that they get to the playoffs and they're not a 7th or 8th seed. As long as they do that, they're going to get to the playoffs. They're going to win a first-round series, and I'm here to tell you something right now. They're going to scare the living hell out of everybody. People have been sleeping on the Warriors. It's a mistake. I
totally agree with that. You know how everyone will talk about the Splash Brothers. I think you could reduce it down to Steph Curry. That's the identity of the team. But if you want to expand it, to me, it's Steph and Dre before Klay. And it's not because Klay is Klay's an awesome player. The issue is, and when Klay went out, Steph couldn't do a lot, right? Because there was no one else who could give you any offense. D'Angelo Russell's clearly not Klay Thompson, but he can give you offense. He can shoot. He can shoot off the bounce. So once you have Steph with at least a backcourt mate who you have to guard, who can hit shots, now Steph Dre as a pick and roll is a problem. I expect the Warriors to be better than people suspect they'll be this year, and I totally agree with your analysis about the playoffs. They're going to get to the second round. They're going to scare the daylights out of a powerhouse team in the second round.
Let me tell you something right now. Listen, Dre, mad love for Dre, and I'm glad he got his $100 million. It was smart of him to take that max deal for himself, because he's making $18 million this year, and then the $100 million kicks in over those next 4 years. Here's the deal. Dre's got to work on his jump shot, which I know he's doing, and he'll shoot better next season. But the presence of Klay on the court with Steph gives them such a level of freedom that you can't even put a price on it. Dre doesn't do that for Steph. He does a lot of things for Steph, but he doesn't do that. D'Angelo Russell's going to be able to do some things for Steph, but he can't do that for Steph. Not to that degree that Klay Thompson could do it. I'm telling you.
A special shooter and an excellent defender, and an excellent defender.
No
He's
question.
a two-way player.
By the way, Steph not the only one putting on a show. Ayesha Curry, her show on ABC, Family Food Fight. 1 second, Stephen. So good. And I want to go on with my mom and my sisters. I'm putting it out there, and I'm confident we will win it all. Yes, Stephen.
I got you. Molly, you know something? Yeah. Are you ready for this, Max? Yes. I want to say this for the record on First Take. I believe the Lakers, even though, don't get me wrong, it was a foregone conclusion, Klay wasn't ever leaving Golden State. Okay. But if I were the Lakers, I would have wanted Klay more than I wanted Kawhi. And I believe that Klay with LeBron and AD would three-peat. Klay, LeBron, and AD would three-peat. Nobody would beat them. Nobody would beat them.
All right. I like it, guys. Got to leave it there.
I didn't say he was better than Kawhi. He's better for the Lakers than Kawhi would have been.
How long should John Gruden have patience with Antonio Brown and all the drama? We'll debate that coming up. And the lineal heavyweight boxing champ Tyson Fury is in the house. There he is. The last time I saw this man, I was ringside. He put on a show, knocking out Tom Shores. And then I saw your pipes. You can sing.
Oh, I don't know about sing, but I'll
no, you can sing.
You can do it all.
You put on such a show. That was so much fun. Good to have you with us.
Thanks. Nice to be here.
All right.
Okay.